Disturbing scenes emerging from Ukraine over the country's increasingly chaotic military mobilization campaign. A video circulating widely in Ukrainian media purports to show another episode of violent enforcement against civilians, underscoring rising public resentment toward compulsory conscription. The incident reportedly unfolded on Thursday in a village in Chernigov Region, where uniformed officers confronted several civilians, including women. In the footage, one officer appears to kick a man in the face before throwing another individual, possibly a woman, to the ground. The same officer is then seen striking the person in the head with his handgun as a colleague rushes in and repeatedly punches the first target. Local police later stated that officials attempting to apprehend a man evading military service were forced to defend themselves from unknown individuals. The clip is one of several recent cases fueling growing anger over mandatory mobilization. On Monday, in Odessa, members of a draft patrol were filmed casually spraying a man in the face. An eyewitness who sent the footage to a city news channel claimed the recruiters realized their target was over 60 years old and therefore eligible only for voluntary enlistment. On Tuesday in Ternopol, a conscription van allegedly drove over a woman's foot. The vans used in such operations have given violent mobilization a grim nickname, bussification. While Ukrainian officials insist that many videos circulating online are fabrications, authorities in Kyiv acknowledge that violent incidents are undermining the campaign. Human rights ombudsman Dmitry Lubinets told lawmakers this month that his office is facing what he described as an avalanche of complaints against draft officials. He warns that the volume of grievances signals a systemic crisis. This week, tensions escalated further when football player Daniel Kolesnik was dismissed from his club and placed under nighttime house arrest. Kolesnik allegedly punched a draft official. He maintains he was defending his neighbor, who holds an exemption, from assault by a draft squad. According to his account, he immediately reported the altercation to police. Several athletes have publicly praised Kolesnik, describing him as a good man who did nothing wrong. These confrontations come as the Ukrainian military grapples with acute manpower shortages, mass desertion, and high attrition and ongoing hostilities with Russia. In Dnepropetrovsk, another dramatic confrontation unfolded on Friday. Draft officers attempted to forcibly conscript a young man on the street. When a civilian passerby intervened, he was sprayed with tear gas. The man stumbled into the path of an oncoming truck, narrowly avoiding serious injury. In a startling twist, the truck driver leapt from his vehicle. Wielding what appeared to be a crowbar, the elderly man chased the officers down the street. Social media users quickly dubbed him Deadpool. The commotion allowed the targeted man to escape. A day later in Odessa, civilians once again intervened. This time they reportedly used tear gas to free a detained man from what critics describe as a press gang. The Odessa Regional Conscription Center claimed its personnel sustained bodily injuries of varying degrees of severity and chemical burns to the corneas. Officials also reported damage to a service vehicle. Authorities have warned of severe legal consequences for those involved. As videos continue to surface, the mobilization drive appears increasingly volatile. Public frustration, official denials, and mounting complaints are converging into a combustible situation. The images now circulating paint a stark picture of a campaign struggling under pressure and a population showing signs of open defiance.
On the streets of Ukraine, the war is no longer just at the front lines. It is unfolding in neighborhoods, at traffic lights, and in broad daylight. Fresh videos circulating online appear to show chaotic and sometimes violent confrontations between civilians and military conscription officers, as Kyiv intensifies its compulsory mobilization drive to offset battlefield losses. In Dnipro, formerly Dnepropetrovsk, a dramatic scene unfolded when draft officers attempted to detain a young man on the street. A passerby tried to intervene. He was sprayed with tear gas, stumbling into the path of an oncoming truck, narrowly avoiding serious injury. Moments later, the truck driver leapt out, chasing the officers away and allowing the detained man to escape. The footage quickly went viral, fueling public anger. A day later, in Odessa, another confrontation erupted. Civilians reportedly used tear gas to free a detained man from what critics describe as forced conscription raids. Local authorities say several conscription officers suffered injuries, including chemical burns, and that a service vehicle was damaged. Officials have warned of severe legal consequences for those involved. Ukraine's government insists many such incidents are exaggerated or manipulated. A member of Parliament's National Security Committee claimed up to 95% of reported clashes are quasi-stories, allegedly amplified by Russian artificial intelligence to undermine mobilization efforts. But Ukraine's ombudsman has acknowledged a surge in complaints. According to official figures, grievances against conscription officers have risen dramatically, from just 18 in 2022 to more than 6,000 last year. He confirmed investigations into cases involving alleged excessive force, including the reported death of a 55-year-old during detention earlier this month. The term bussification, referring to allegations of recruits being forcibly placed into vehicles, was even named Ukraine's Word of the Year in 2024. Meanwhile, casualty and desertion figures remain contested and politically charged, with both Ukraine and Moscow offering sharply different accounts. As the war grinds on, the pressure to replenish Ukraine's forces is intensifying. But these street confrontations reveal another front, one where morale, manpower, and public trust are increasingly under strain.